question here. Have you read the 2020 Review Observer Report? What lessons have you taken away and will you implement as mayor?
I'm getting all the curly ones. I think it's really important that we work on getting that culture right in the team. I think that was the biggest thing. And that starts right at the beginning, getting people in the room right at the beginning and building that culture together of functioning. I think working, just even as Mahi has said too, working on finding the right people for the right roles, not on those that just agree with you, but actually finding the ones who can do the best roles together.
You go.
Yeah, I think congestion charges, I'm not opposed to them in principle, but I think it's at least 20 years too early for Tauranga. I don't think you can charge people for moving around the city when we don't provide them other choices. So we need to get our transport network sorted out, our public transport network. We need to provide other options for people to be able to get around before we go imposing any charges on them. Just on some quick wins, as far as solutions, because transport is a gnarly one, but we all know what it's like trying to drive around Tauranga in the school holidays. We don't have much of a congestion problem. So one of the first things that I would do is actually get all the principals in the room and look at how do we solve this so that we can get more out of our network while we're solving the infrastructure challenges.
So while you've got the microphone, Tina, you worked on the Carless Wednesday challenge.
Yes.
How much are you going to push people into walking, cycling and modal shift?
I'm not interested in pushing people into anything, but what I am is very interested in providing choice so that people can make the choice.
Yeah, just quickly on that, I think, to give people efficient, effective and reliable public transport options is great. But my solution, rather than rates, and this is actually something I think we should do from a national perspective, because that's the only way it's going to work, no petrol tax, cut it, GPS is in the car, you get charged road user charges, and then so every kilometre you do, you pay, and that goes to where what roads you use. It's going to be a great solution for Tauranga because we get a lot of people here that want to use our roads, and when they use our roads, they pay to use our roads. And when things are congested, you can charge people more, to go in peak times, for example, or in holidays when we've got a lot of people on the roads. That's the way that you will change people's behaviour.
I just
if it's a better option.
I don't think that's going to happen at all. It's not a deterrent because people still fundamentally need to move around the city. So charging them at that kind of rate isn't going to not keep people off the roads.
Well, they can make a choice as to when they go, but you're going to be saving your money on petrol tax and just paying it in a different way.
It'll bring people back to the city centre and it'll create that livelihood that we've all been yearning for and just not feeling so good about every time we walk up Devonport Road, so completely supportive of that.
Ria, is the CBD important and do you support TCC's current plans?
It's absolutely important. Just thinking back when I was a child walking up Devonport Road and how vibrant it was some 20-something years ago, but now that's not the case, and that's a sad state of affairs because we want this place to be the place that we all come to work, play, live, and enjoy. So the CBD definitely deserves some love, and I'm glad that it's getting some at the moment. And I support the sentiments of Tina in terms of te manawa taki o te papa. I think it's a really great opportunity to start seeing some life, and we're starting to see, like Mahi has said earlier, some life come back to the city, so I reckon it's absolutely important.
The reality is the interest payable on IFF funding is greater than what council can borrow out, and the other reality is that on your rates bill from next year you'll have your rates bill and you'll also have another bill, IFF repayments. So it's the same thing under a different guise. It's smoke and mirrors and allows council to borrow even more, and in my view it's not financially prudent.
Except it does have the benefit of shifting some of those repayments into the future, which means we're not paying the full amount right now.
I think the problem is the community don't feel listened to. If we're going to take Mount Maunganui as an example, and consultation thing was probably done very poorly and it wasn't explained well. So when the community, for example, see high rises and overshadowing in a climate that is not the Gold Coast, then they say, well, we really don't want that. And when they submit 400 to 5 against that high rise along the CBD. You imagine 6 stories alongside both sides of that Mount Maunganui Road in the CBD. It would be a horrible place, especially in winter. So they see that, so they don't want it. They see the one-way trial in Tauranga City and they don't think much of that, so they don't want it there. They see things happening in other parts of the city that they don't want there, and I can't blame them.
I need to move on. Surely, if we're addressing the housing supply issue, bring more housing onto the market, that'll start to ease the affordability issue, or at least stop the massive increase.
Oh, absolutely, and you know, supply is the solution to affordability. So, you know, we've got to work with, you know, anyone that's going to build these houses. And again, what I'm hearing is, you know, it is very hard because when you go and lodge a consent at council, the initial reaction is no, and you have to convince them. So, you know, what do we need? Houses. How do we help these people build us houses so we can increase that supply? So, you know, that's very much where I'm coming from. You know, we've got to work together collaboratively to deliver more houses, and how can we make that easier so we have more houses and you know, they become more affordable.